Hey there, welcome back. It is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365, where I take this awesome coffee table book and I use it for its intended purpose, a page a day, to talk about comic books. And I think it's a great excuse for some content, to incite some conversation, and to have this conversation with you. That's right. You know what? We're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, U.S. Come by when we turn the page and we see what we have in store for us on this date, which is March 2nd. And remember, this is the golden age of DC Comics. The golden age of DC Comics run between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age begins in 1956, and the Bronze Age begins about 1974. And taking ideas for conversation of what comes after the Bronze Age. I'm asking, are you listening? Does anyone have an answer? Is there an answer? What comes after the Bronze Age? Is it the Age of Heroes? And are we in the Iron Age right now? Or is it something else? Let me know. I could look it up, but I'd rather have a conversation with you. And these conversations that we used to have in comic book shops. And so we're having them here with each other on this platform. Thank you, YouTube. Yay. I like this place. And I like making good content. I hope this is good content, and I hope you like it. And we're talking about comic books today on March the 2nd. This is story by Jerry Siegel, art by Joe Shuster, the Siegel and Shuster of Superman. This is from Detective Comics number 15, May of 1938. And it's 3 panels in sequence. We read them. We read them left to right in sequence. We'll get back to the panels and their dialogue in a second. But the blurb is more important than the art right now. Just 1 month before Superman burst onto the comic book scene and changed it forever, his creators were still working on generic features like the generically titled Spy. Here the good guys confront Mr. Death, a madman who persists in killing international diplomats. The heroine, so pleased to be proven right that she doesn't realize how much trouble she's in, could be a prototype for Lois Lane. However, there's no Superman around to save her, unless you count the one appearing on the inside front cover and an ad for the forthcoming Action Comics number 1. So, whoop, what's going on here? I bet you $1 he won't. You know who I am, Mr. Death. And then she says blithely, come on, pay up, you owe me $1. I told you he'd come. How can you speak of money now? Don't you realize we might possibly be killed? Not possibly, definitely. Well, maybe they had a kind of Thin Man rapport. The whole, the Thin Man was a wildly successful book series and movie series at the time, and the detective and his wife, and they were just the Charles, Nora Charles, Nick and Nora Charles, the Nick Charles detective, tough guy, and his wife, she was independently wealthy, Nora, and their dog Astra, and the Thin Man movies, and they were wonderful, fun movies, and of this bygone black and white era of the late 30s, and just snappy dialogue and great banter between the husband and wife, and but yeah, so this is comics before superheroes. This is one of the last comics before Superman came and changed the game. It's like Harry Potter or or like Star Wars. Just like something came along culturally and popular culture and just changed the way that we enjoy stories and influenced the genre. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's Mr. Death, and it's action. It's Detective Comics 15 from May 1938. And remember, Batman will not premiere until Detective Comics, the same title, number 27, the following year. And then a year after that, almost, Robin premieres. We'll get to Robin when we get to Robin. But here, we're going to say goodbye to spy titles. We're going to close the book on today, on March 2nd. And, yeah, that's about pretty much, it's a cut and dry one today. I mean, like, what's there to talk about besides spy comics? Yeah, that's about it. You know, I get a Thin Man vibe off of this. And the prototypical Lois Lane could have been. You know, is there any crossover? Is this continuity? Is this canon? Is this? I don't think so. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comments section. Let's talk more about comic books. That's why we're here. That's why we make this show. That's why we tune in. And we're talking comic books. And we're going to talk comic books every day for the rest of the year. And we're talking about the golden age of DC Comics. And this was released by Abrams Printing in 2004. It was written and compiled by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. So I'm very grateful for the producers and authors of this book. And yeah, it's a nice coffee table book, and it's just like I said, it's been here once again. I like looking at the ancient internet. This is ancient eBay. Behold, ancient eBay. And yeah, and our streaming content and the media that we enjoy it are much different than the newsstand of the past. When wow, if you can ever get to an old-fashioned magazine store, one just closed a few years ago in Boston, in Cambridge, in Harvard Square. It was called Out of Town News, and its store used to be the terminal of the old subway station, and it was on an island right there in Harvard Square itself, and it had every publication all across the world, daily newspapers. It's where you would get your London Times in the 80s, or your copy of Pravda, which was the Russian news, or any of the French magazines I would get. I loved French. I took French in high school. I'm actually pretty good at speaking French here and there. I can read, I can write, I can understand a little bit, I can speak it a little bit. And like Paris Match, you know, something like that. Just that you could get those magazines there, and it's all of these, and no comic books. I don't remember, because it wasn't about comic books. There was a comic book store down the street, actually New England's oldest comic book store, New England Comics. Million Year Picnic, and then New England Comics as well opened in the 80s. But Out of Town News, yeah, it was, the world came there, and it was just what a wonderful experience to see all of these different magazines from all across the globe in one place. And it was print publication, magazines, ad space, leading, fonts, justifying lines, pictures. It was formatting a page. There's an art behind making a magazine. It's a skill. And in the age of blogs and desktop publishing, it's and I don't want to say it's a lost art, but it's a very specialized art form. And it is a craft. It is a trade. Going from idea to writing, to editing, to formatting, and then printing, and then binding, and then distribution, and then marketplace. I mean, print publications. I mean, it's just what a deep subject, and comics are just one part of the spectrum of print publication. And this is when print publication was king. Radio was new, and television was right around the corner. So most people got their information and their entertainment from print somehow. And that's all we got for today. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Leave a thumbs down if you didn't. I'm a big lad. I can handle it. We make daily content, and I'm an ordained minister, a professional chef. Tune in for the cooking videos. Tune in for the motivational and inspirational. Just keep tuning in. And tomorrow, we'll be talking about comics again. Thank you so very much. Cheers and good luck.